Hi guys, welcome back to Bar Exam. It's your girl, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the Bar Exam crew as always. What's up, Mr. Marcus TV?
What up?
What up? And then we also have Eric G in the building as well. What's up, Eric?
What up?
Nice shirt, nice shirt.
Figured
so,
I'd
coming
keep it
before,
festive.
yeah, very festive, very festive. Now, this week, coming before the bar, we are discussing Devil's Night album. So if you guys don't know, D12 is actually a Detroit group. Eminem first started off, I think at the time he was Slim Shady, but he started off at that in this group in Detroit, and it has a few different members, actually a bunch of members. So the guys probably know a little bit more about the lineage of the members in this group, but we're going to be discussing their 2001 album, Devil's Night, and because it's historically known as the night before Halloween, which ties in perfectly because Halloween is coming up very soon for us here. So we want to discuss this album and some like different hits, the spooky hits, some of their just more popular joints, and then also kind of bring it all the way around with showing or talking about different groups that are now kind of influenced by D12 sound. So I don't know if any of the guys want to start off. I can start off with one of my favorite songs from the album to get everything.
Before we even get to songs, I only know two members. That was
Okay.
Proof and Bizarre. That was the only two, and of course Eminem.
So we'll go left to right on this one. So on the left, we've got Proof. Then we've got Swifty McVeigh. Then we've got Bizarre. Then we've got Con Artists. Then we have Mr. Porter, who is still a producer, as a lot of you may know him as Mr. Porter. And then, of course, Eminem. And all of them have two names also, which is where the Dirty Dozen, aka D12, comes from. So Proof, his other name is Dirty Harry, I believe. Swifty, I forgot his other one. Bizarre, I forgot his other one. Like, I forgot most of them. And then obviously Eminem is Slim Shady, but all of them like have two names. So that's where the Dirty Dozen comes from. It's like a split personality thing. So
Gotcha. That makes more sense because when I was looking over like the lyrics, I was like, and then I'm listening to the song, I'm like, there's not three people talking, but they're like, they would name like two people and Eminem. And I'm like, who is the other person? I don't hear. Like, it feels like maybe there's alter egos in this song. That's what I was kind of thinking. So thank you for that, Shane. That makes a lot more sense. So wait, so one of the members, what's his name? How do I pronounce his name? Kuniva.
that's Conniva.
Conniva. Okay, so his alter ego is Con Artist, I'm pretty sure.
No, Con Artist actually is Mr. Porter. I messed that up. So Mr. Porter, the guy next to Eminem in this picture, Mr. Porter, his name he's also Con Artist. The guy behind him is Conniva.
Gosh.
Then it's Bizarre, then Swifty, then Proof.
Got you. All right, them having these alter egos just makes this even.
Hold on, Royce was never in D12.
Nope.
No, actually, Royce was beefing with D12 when they were at their height.
Oh damn.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
We're learning
That's a
a lot.
long story for another day.
yeah, it really is.
All right, so now that we kind of understand who's who, does anybody want to start off with one of their favorite songs? Maybe a spooky hit, maybe just a song that they like, Marcus? Or do you want me to go first?
I'm gonna actually throw an alley hoop to the booming voice from the sky.
Is that right?
Yes, our one
favorite
and
D12
only
song?
producer. You know, because he is the D12 aficionado. He is the D12 expert. You know, the subject matter expert on D12. You know, I would like to welcome him on to the show. You know, we haven't done this in a while. You know, but yeah, I would definitely like to welcome the one and only Shane.
Well, you know, thank you. You know, they hear me though. You know what I'm saying? They know I'm here. You know.
Why you got that pimp talk about him, man? Detroit pimp. Oh, man,
They know I'm here.
They know what it is.
They see me.
They know
Y'all see what it is.
what's going on.
You know, bar exam and all that.
Yeah, you know.
No, but
So Shane's gonna
one of my
talk, and
favorite one of my favorite D12 songs, period, is a song called "Shit on You." Actually,
Really?
yeah, it's not on that album. It's on. I forgot. I think it actually just came out as a Lucy before the album came out, but then it came out on like maybe one of Eminem's greatest hits albums or something like that. They put it on there. But that's actually one of my favorite D12 songs, like, because I feel like all of them were just like rapping, like it was goofy shit, you know what I mean? But they were all like kind of displaying their skill in a serious way that showed like how they all got together type shit.
Gotcha.
You know, so I just feel like it's, you know, it's a good display of that. On the album, my favorite song is probably actually a song that doesn't even have any Eminem verses on it. He's on the hook, but it's I think it's called Pimp Like Me. It's number 13. That's my shit on that song or on that CD.
Why? Why is that one your favorite?
I love that beat, and it's funny that Marcus said that I was talking like a pimp or whatever because it's on some pimp shit. So like, and I don't know. I just like the vibe of the song. Like,
If it look like a duck, quack like a duck. Eric, what is it? What is it?
Oh
Eric?
man, honestly, my favorite song was always Purple Pills because that was the one that
You supposed to
introduced
say
me
it's
to
a duck.
D12.
You missed that whole thing. It's a duck. Yo, that boy a pimp. But go ahead.
He ain't doing his people like that. He was like, anyway,
You
that's
can't move past
that
this
media
pimp.
he's got that media training down pat. He was like, nah, I ain't doing my peoples like that. Not his brother.
Yeah.
So
Nah,
you
we're
ride
not
for
doing
yours.
that.
You ride for yours.
We're not doing
You
that.
pimp.
I'm
The
glad you
fact
brought
that
up.
you won't call him a pimp even speaks more to his pimping.
Hey, man, that ain't none of our business. Anyway, let's get to discussing the songs on this album. So, like Eric said, Purple Pills is actually one of the biggest hits off of that album. It was actually really popular with people because it was one of those times where I think Shane said it really well, where they're able to show off their skills as rappers, right? And be silly, but they also kind of bring you into a different side of themselves that most people wouldn't allow themselves to talk about. It would be taboo. And it's just kind of like this inner looking, especially because at the time, like, so Purple Pills is a song basically about popping different types of drugs. So Purple Pills could be like ecstasy, Ambien, Valium, because I guess through like around that time, these are the drugs that Eminem was taking, and probably some of the other members were as well. So he wrote, they wrote this song to kind of be silly, but at the same time, we were kind of having this like introspection into like what's going on in Eminem's mind, maybe even Bizarre's mind when they're off of their associated, like they're a different type of drugs, because it seems like each one of them does their own type of thing, but they all want the same end result, is to get super duper high and kind of like be this other type of person, and in this song you realize that it is them showing not just like the silly nature or like the fun side of drug use. They're actually trying to, I think, show you like there are real things, like real bad things that happen and things that we normalize because we're high when this is happening, but it doesn't mean that like it is normal. So for example, like Eminem jumps into the song saying cool and calm, just like my mom with a cup of Valium inside her palm. So like right there, you see that like this is something that he's been around for a long time. His mom takes Valium. So, him starting to pop pills is nothing different. And then later we found out that he had a pill problem, and now he's sober. But during the time, like came off as fun. This came off to people as like, oh, he's making light of his situation. But maybe he was actually like crying out for help kind of a way. Then he goes on to say, talk about all the other things that he's taking, shrooms. He talks about, this is kind of crazy. This also shows off his skills, like I was saying. He said, it's Mr. Mischief with a trick up his sleeve to roll up on you like Christopher Reeves. you don't know, Christopher Reeves is an actor who lost the use of his legs, so he ended up being stuck in a wheelchair. And like Eminem is gonna show off his skills, show off.
He loved going at Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, I was just going at Christopher.
He really did.
I mean, but that was also a time where like saying the taboo things in lyrics was so like, oh my God, he really said, and I guess that was the thing. These weren't mixtapes. These were singles. These were songs. These were on the radio, you know. Hell, he talks about Britney and Justin. How they like on what was that earlier that I listened to when they was talking about, oh, what is Britney gonna like? I mean, he just went in on Britney. Like, and now we probably would call it bullying because Britney and her conservatorship and everything she's went through in mental health and woman, and I am, you know, can't make that, can't say that right now.
Woman and
Huh?
you said and woman and
Yeah, you
Mental
know,
health thing.
you know, they be having those, oh my God, free Britney. Like they be like, you know,
I can't lie. We were young, free Britney, and then now everybody's like, maybe
Yeah.
I've seen her on
Maybe
Instagram,
the lock-
and they're like, oh, okay, this is
Yeah, that
I think
narrative. The narrative changes like that on you.
Can y'all agree that Britney maybe should go back in? I think Britney should get violated.
I don't know.
no, not violated, but I think that she needs somebody.
Not like violated like that. Like if she was on parole and got violated and talked. No, not.
Oh, I knew what you meant.
Not law.
That's what I
and
thought you
order.
were leaning towards at first. I was like, whoa.
No, I definitely knew what you meant.
No, man. Like, damn, this devil's
Nah,
not for real.
Nah.
No, I'm not that type of animal.
This is devil- like,
No, I was like, no, that's crazy.
Devil's Night episode. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Mr.
How savages
Supposed
we
to
get on
violate
this.
Britney? No, that's not what.
Oh, she's fragile.
Oh man.
Man, she just dancing. Them knives wasn't even real on that Instagram.
Man, she's just twirling. She
They
don't
were
give a-
stage knives, you know what I'm saying? They was given to her by somebody she know from Hollywood. So says
saying. I don't know.
Yep.
That bitch went. Pulled out
man,
whatever.
shout out Britney, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out Britney.
Damn.
She came out when I was in the 6th grade. Hit me,
I mean,
baby,
yeah,
one more
Mickey
time.
Mouse Club.
I remember that shit. No, well, that was before I was in 6th grade. I wasn't up on her then. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't up on her.
I wasn't up on her. You know what I'm saying? Her, Christina, JT, all of them.
Who's
They
you
was
up
all.
on? Shane, who was you up on?
Who was you up on the 6th grade? Tell me that.
In 6th grade,
In the
shit,
6th
I was up
grade.
on some shit.
I know.
Because you gotta think. I had big cousins, right? So
Okay.
my big cousins used to like let me listen to the Bone Thugs album and the Tupac albums. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's why I grew up on West Coast rap. Really, before like I had ever like experienced being on the West Coast or like knowing anything about it. Really, like it was all because of them. Like I hung out with my cousin Marvin a lot and his 2 big sisters, Brandy and T. Shout out to them. They used to play me all the shit that I wasn't allowed to listen to when I was at the crib. So
That's
That's-
how came up.
So them type of cousins.
Because we
Yeah.
the same age, ain't we, Shane?
damn near, I'm 36.
Okay, yeah, I'm 39. Okay, that. So I was 6th grade for me was No Limit era, like True Church, Mr. Ice Cream Man. Like that's what I wasn't supposed. And I was like, I knew everything from No Limit. So I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, D12.
song.
Double tight.
We done ventured off a little bit.
I know y'all. We do this every
rails.
time I'm here. My bad.
It's just so much fun. We always get into some other But anyway, we were talking about this song, Purple Pills, how crazy it is, how it kind of feels like Eminem might be like revealing a little bit about himself. Do you guys get that vibe from this like verse? Like, do you get a vibe of like maybe, you know,
100%.
Is it like a cry for help or something? You know,
100%. This is like this is one of those verses that is an early cry for help, but it's also littered with so much other stuff that could be considered as, I don't want to use the term fun rap, but I'll use that in this case. There's so much other quote unquote fun that's circled around the realness of what he's actually saying, that it's partially a cry for help, but it's also a, like, I'm describing what I'm seeing around me, but I'm also describing how it's affected me and how I'm living with it, and how I can basically either take it in a good way or take it in a bad way. I think that's kind of the beauty of the reason that you described, like the dual like personality on this album, because there's a lot of that sprinkled throughout all of that. And it took me a long time to even realize that there was a double meaning on this song until I got like way older, because when I heard this song I was way too young to even know. So yeah, I think for sure that there's one side of, yeah, we're doing this and this is fun, but there's another side of, I'm actually crying out for help at the same time.
Yeah.
Especially in hindsight, you know what I mean? Like in hindsight, like, because like you mentioned, he went through the addiction and he went through, you know, rehab and the ODing and, you know, disappearing for some years. Like, I don't know if y'all remember that one year where he had to cancel a concert because he had pneumonia, quote unquote. Or he had to cancel the last leg of his tour, actually, is what it was. And they said he fell sick with pneumonia.
I vaguely remember that.
This was in like, I don't know, I'm spitballing, but like 2009, maybe 2008, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
More around the relapse era.
It was right before relapse. It was not right before. It was probably 2 years before relapse. But, and he rapped about it on relapse, which is funny that you mentioned that, because that's why I'm bringing it up, is he said really it was because he overdosed on pills and he needed to go to rehab and get his shit together. So
Yeah.
the media, you know, his publicists and stuff went to the media and said he had pneumonia, so he had to quit. But he admitted on his own album, like, yeah, that was some bullshit. Really, I was struggling with pills. So
Yeah.
in hindsight, Purple Pills is kind of a sad song because it is like, you know, it is, because you got to think too of the time when this came out. What did you say, 2001?
Yeah.
This album came out.
This
So-
was before 8 Mile and all that came out in 2002.
So in 2001, I'm 14. You know what I'm saying? So like, just my perspective on all of that is totally different. Rappers weren't, the only song where rappers were rapping about doing any drug other than weed really was Sipping on Some Scissor by 3 6. That was the only other song where niggas
Yeah.
talking about doing anything besides weed. Other than that, it was strictly weed. Other than that, you was a crackhead as far as rappers were concerned. Straight up though.
Right?
You
No, you got a point.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
like, for a
so
while
for
it was
D12
kind
to be like rapping about pills and stuff like that, that's why it was almost taken as a joke. It's like they probably don't even really do pills for real. Like they're
Yeah.
probably just rapping about it to be on some silly shit. And then turns out, oh no, Eminem had a problem. So maybe there was more going on, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's even other stuff like in here, like, oh damn, like maybe y'all niggas like weren't kidding. Like they were saying stuff like there's a line in here where he talks about where one of them talks about like having track marks on their arm and not being able to get a job, and it's like, why do you think I rap? Like, no, that kind of thing. And I was like, damn, like, you know, you don't think about that kind of, you know, maybe like that really was something that like they ended up, you know, having to do, like having to go into rap, not because like they necessarily wanted to, but because maybe they couldn't get a regular job because of the shit that the drugs that they were involved in.
I
And
think
I'll put it
Bizarre
like
said
this.
that, didn't he?
And I'll put it like this. You know, and just what are you guys' thoughts on this? But I mean, every rapper for the most part, you know, up until a certain point recently, they were all the drug dealer, right? Like all of them.
Yeah.
Every rapper damn near was I'm a hustler and blah blah blah. So like all the niggas in the city can't be the hustler. Somebody has to be the users. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe they were just some of the only ones who were being honest about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
When do you guys think it? When do you exactly think the switch happened?
Lil Wayne.
You think it was Wayne?
Yep, when he started glorifying drinking syrup all the time and walking everywhere on earth with the double cup, and everybody thought it looked cool.
Yep.
For me,
I think I would agree with you actually.
I thought it was Gucci, to be honest.
I think Gucci was. Gucci and Juicy J, to me, are the guys who made the pill epidemic popular.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Wayne was the guy who made lean popular. Gucci and it was a combo of Gucci and Juicy J. They were the two that made pills popular.
But you have to listen to Juice. Like, this is gonna sound so crazy. Like, we all agree that Snoop is the weed connoisseur of a generation of just smoking and getting high. Like, we agree upon that he is that. Like, no, there's nobody above like Snoop in the realm of weed. Juicy was the same way with pills, but no one gives him credit for that because you really can't.
No.
Because Juicy been getting high. Well, he's sober now, according to his latest book and everything. But I mean, when you can do drugs for 20 plus years, 20 years,
but
and functional,
yeah. But here's the difference with that too, though. You can't be the spokesman of something that people don't really see you doing. Like. He just talk. We know Juicy does pills because he raps and tells us that he does pills. If he never rapped about it, we wouldn't know. We would just be like, this nigga, he's an energetic nigga. That's all we would think. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? When is he ever like wild out in public or anything like that? Like, never. He's never. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what indication do we actually have that he does drugs outside of the fact that in his music he tells us he does drugs? Whereas with Snoop, we see this nigga smoking weed, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot easier to be the figurehead of some shit that's visual. You get what I'm trying to say?
I do. Yeah. Well,
that's why I associate Wayne with the cup. Like, everybody knows what's in the cup. Like, it's the lane.
Yeah,
so it's the thing there. You know what I'm saying? And then when he makes that cool, that's why I blame it all on Wayne, actually. Like, you know, not like as an individual, but just his influence. You know what I'm saying? Because he was such a huge deal in like the mid to late 2000s going into the 2010s. Like, everything he did was just some cool shit to young niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the young nigga era at that time. So I definitely remember what it was like. You know, a bunch of niggas started growing their dreads out, getting tattoos.
Everyone started wearing bait.
Like, all types of shit. Like, this is kind of after that, though. Like,
yeah. I think Wayne is the Allen Iverson of the culture.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
It was exactly that. Because when we were in high school, Marcus, everybody had braids, and it was because of Allen Iverson. I don't give a fuck what you say. That's why niggas had braids in high school. So the niggas started growing dreads because of Wayne. Like, it's that exact same type of influence, I think. So, and then you started noticing niggas' rap styles was changing. You know what I'm saying? Niggas were dressing different. Like,
Wayne, that's when the rock star era started.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like, he has some good Halloween music too, actually, you know, all of his goon and goblin references, and I'm not a human being and all of that, but that's another episode.
Hey, you know, they made all the AI, they made the culture into like AI Disney movies, and they had fucking Goon as a goblin as the new Disney Pixar, and it looked fire. It was it looked like it was a Lil Wayne animated character. It was not it. I'm gonna find it, but it looked amazing, amazing.
The one good thing from AI,
right? So far,
the content we didn't know.
I don't think you get Wayne rapping about lean like so frivolously and rapping saying I'm a pill popping animal, syrup sipping nigga. You know what I'm saying? Those type of songs. I don't think you get that without a D12 first, because they made it very openly known that that's what they was on. And then other rappers kind of felt comfortable. Oh, we can talk about that. We can talk about what we do. Oh, shit. I didn't know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it seems like for sure. Yeah. And then to answer your question, Eric, it was actually, I think it was Swift who said that line. He said, okay, so at the beginning, he says, does Bizarre, what did he say? He said, I popped 4 E's at one time and I don't need water when I'm swallowing mine. Hey, you got any shrooms? Does Bizarre smoke crack? We can't get jobs because our arms show tracks. Why the hell you niggas think I rap? So yeah, basically, like he says it right there. Like, why the fuck you think
I met him. I met Swifty McVay at 12 Oaks Mall one time.
Really? How was that?
He was cool. He was cool as shit. Like I was with my boy, and he was by himself. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed him, but I didn't want to blow the spot up. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I just noticed it. I was like, oh shit, that's Swifty from D12. Like that's what's up.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of just gave
Just
him
left
one
it
of
alone.
those. You know, I acknowledged him, but from afar. You know what I'm saying? I just gave him one of the, you know what I mean, like one of them type of joints. He did it back. That was it. You know what I'm saying? And then I went on about my day. And then when I was leaving, he was by the exit. So then I got to walk up to him and actually like speak to him and stuff. And he was cool.
So in Detroit, are they still a big deal?
Today, no.
Oh.
Unfortunately, you know what I mean? No. Today. A lot of that kind of fell apart when Proof died.
Really?
Yeah. When Proof died, Eminem kind of, you know, that's when a lot of his pill issues were really bad. Was after that, and he kind of had to, you know, he had to go and get himself together, and you know, depending on how you look at that, he left D12 behind, or you know, like just things just weren't the same after Proof died, basically.
Yeah.
There's not really a way to put blame on that, you know, because everybody deals with death differently. You know what I'm saying? Especially a murder, you know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah, because it was more so the way it happened, too.
Yeah.
Can you guys, like, let us... Like, what is... I didn't even know that Proof was murdered. So, like, what happened? Do you guys know? Like, a brief...
I mean, long story short, he was at an after-hour spot in Detroit, and he got into it with somebody and ended up getting shot.
Oh, damn.
That's that's an extremely long story short, because there's more details and stuff, but I don't know what's facts and what's not. The only thing I know for sure is that he was at after hour spot and he got shot and got killed. So
got you.
So yeah. But yeah, after that kind of definitely negatively impacted the group as a whole. So then certain ones were trying to do like solo shit and use their name off of that, and you know, like a lot of it didn't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They were kind of waiting for Eminem to get back right, but then when he came back, he was kind of more focused on the solo career. He didn't really go back and do another D12 project. So, you know, that was kind of that. So,
yeah. I mean, I think also like once you, sometimes people don't realize like when you go through something like that. So like getting hooked up on like pills and then having people around you who are your friends during that time. A lot of times like they're not the reason that you're doing those pills or those drugs or whatever, but like they're kind of like a trigger. So I can understand people wanting to like, okay, let me get away from the people who I normally would use these pills around, or who I would normally party with like this and get fucked up with. Like sometimes you got to distance yourself because you're like, I got to be a totally different person, and like putting myself back in that situation is just isn't smart. So it could, you know, people could take it as him not wanting to talk to the rest of the group, or, you know, not wanting to fuck with them, but it could honestly be just him trying to protect his sobriety. Like, it sounds like it's really something super important to him nowadays. So I get it, you know, it seems like he's been through a lot with this. So yeah, I thought it was a really interesting song. It was one of those situations where everything sounds like it's fun, like it's supposed to be silly, but there's actually a lot of meaning behind it if you sit back and listen. And for real, like pull up the lyrics if you get a chance, because when I was looking, if you notice, like Bizarre, it was on some crazy shit back then. Like he was going through a lot of relationship shit. Okay,
Bizarre is a wild boy. Like his whole purpose in that group is to say the most outlandish shit that he can think of. Like,
but it's always super sexual. I'm like, what the fuck, Bizarre? Like everybody
talks about
smashing brains, okay, and he always talking about bending bitches and stuff. I'm like, that's too much.
With dogs and family members, and Bizarre.
Like, that's too goddamn much. Bizarre. Like,
Bizarre still raps today. Shout out to Bizarre, man.
Bizarre is one of the ones who is still active.
Yeah, he still raps.
Does he still rap like that?
Yeah.
Yes. He raps the exact same.
Yeah.
Yo, Bizarre is going through some shit. Like he got some like female issues. Like I don't know
He
what.
made a song with
He's not
somebody
like-
that I'm gonna bring up later too.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, so that's my take on Purple Pills. Does anybody want to go next?
Do you have the lyrics for dang, what's the name of the song? American Psycho?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's have that next. Let's happy Halloween, everybody. You know what I mean? That's so just real quick, the name of the album Devil's Night. The reason why it's called that is because I guess this is a Detroit thing. Y'all let us know if other places do this as well. But the day before Halloween is called Devil's Night, and it's basically a day where people go out and just pull pranks. That was the original kind of purpose of it. People go out like egg houses, people's houses, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was like harmless prank type stuff. Eventually, because Detroit's Detroit, it got worse and worse, and then more crimes were involved with it or whatever, and then they tried to change it around and call it Angels Night and all that kind of stuff. Because it actually got bad, but originally it was like some harmless prank type shit, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, everyone has a little bit of devil in them, so this is your night to get it out. That was kind of the thing, so that's why they called their album Devil's Night. Because like I said, I think that is a Detroit thing. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. I highly doubt it, but
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that habit recently anyway.
Right.
yeah, so
Well,
yeah, it's a good
okay,
song
so
off
that makes
that,
more sense now,
is-
especially because I didn't know that was just a Detroit thing. Like I've heard of like Devil's Night, but I've never heard of any town actually celebrating it. To be honest, like I always just thought it was one of those like in the spooky tale about Halloween or whatever. But that's crazy that Detroit.
In the what?
Yeah, like
The spooky tale about Halloween.
because how like they talk about like All Hallows Eve, and then like so when you hear about something like Devil's Night, you're like, okay, whatever. Like that's just some bullshit, So I never knew like people actually really. It sounds kind of like where the Purge started or some
Do
shit.
you know what you sound like right now? And I don't even think you mean it to be intentional. There was a movie called Tales from the Hood, and they had the mortuary dude, and he was like, "Oh, let me tell you, think it's and that what you just said, and like that little bubble right there was exactly his monologue. You think that it's just, but when Crazy K and his group people came back around, man, just show us where the shit is. The shit.
You'll get the shit.
Oh, that was
I gotta watch.
Shit.
Hold on, have you seen the movie?
It's silly as shit.
Have you seen the
Yes.
movie?
What is it called again?
Tales from the Hood.
Yeah,
No.
Tales from the Hood. Yeah, watch that. It's
Classic movie.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
You
Like it's
just
not
you
scary.
did it without even knowing it. That's how dope it was.
Yeah, good shit.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, yeah, I gotta put that one on the list. But anyway, so we're talking about
American Psycho.
yes, American Psycho. So the song is actually kind of named after the movie that came out in 2000. So the album dropped in 2001. So it's it's probably pretty safe to say that Eminem and the crew watched it and then got some type of inspiration from it. And basically, just like the movie, where you are in the mind of a psycho, that's basically what this song is all about. Interestingly enough, you kind of don't. I mean, the name of it gives it away, right? But you like Eminem just jumps right into it. He doesn't give you the chorus at the beginning. He jumps right into his verse at the very start of it, and he goes right off and saying, "I'm the devil. If ever there was such a thing, the results of much too many drugs. What you're seeing, I'm a mind fuck, completely disgusting." So he just goes in about himself, and then he basically you kind of understand that this dude is like a murderer with scissors. So each person is kind of like portraying a different type of murderer. Maybe it's like their fantasy murderer. I don't know, their alter ego. And so it gets not too bad. I think Bizarre again gets really sexual like he always does. Like if for some reason, I don't know why, Bizarre always ties it back. And actually I think it ties back, like his verse ties back to some of the stuff that he said in Purple Pills, weirdly enough. So I thought it was a really interesting song. And I think it definitely fits the Halloween motif. Like Eminem says, I'm like a walking, talking Ouija board, speaking in tongues. I've never spoke this speech before. And he says some crazy and some different tongue shit. And then he says, have you ever experienced spirits in lyrics when you hear them till you're scared to stare into any mirrors when you're near them? And yeah, so like he's definitely leaning into that. Like I'm, like maybe I'm giving you some type of spirits by listening to this song, or and back then that was a really big deal. Like people were really like, I remember my parents being like, at least when my mom was really into the church, she'd be like, don't put on that like devil music, So I feel like Eminem this song would definitely be one of her like, aha, I told you moments, right? So
because you gotta think when he grew up in the 70s when that was really a thing. Like that's when like, obviously I do a show called Politics as Usual, you know what I'm saying? Check it out. But that's kind of when the religious right became a thing. And they were using scare tactics like that, like Ouija boards, Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I'm saying? Like different stuff like that. They were like, yo, you're inviting the devil in and this is how you do it. And you can do it through music. But at the time, the focus was rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? They were going after rock and roll, saying that was the devil's music. But that like started in like, if not the 60s, definitely the 70s. You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of a way to combat against like hippie life. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came from. But yeah, so like that carried on and it kept going through the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And that's when, like I said, like Dungeons and Dragons got added into the mix and all of that stuff. And then in the 90s, it was Murder Was the Case by Snoop Dogg. Oh, he had the devil in his video. So, maybe there's something else going on there and, all that. So yeah, that's funny you bring that up.
All of that reminds me of when they started like playing people's records, like the old rock records from the 70s, and then like playing them in reverse and then trying to pinpoint look, this was what they were really, really trying to get across in the song, because this is what it really says if you play it in reverse. This is what they were really saying. That's around that time when they were really trying to pinpoint like the smallest minute details that they could find to try to say like that this was devil worship music and things like that. That's exactly what that time reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. That's exactly why I thought of it. I remember my mom had like a boyfriend who was super into the church, and he would do stuff like he would literally be like, aha, He'd be like, God damn.
He would be like,
Elliot. He would be like, she does that with it.
I'm not gonna let you Wait, what would he do?
I know it.
I knew it. Listen to that devil music, and you'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" It wasn't a Missy Elliott and shit. Like, not at all. I'm thinking about no goddamn none of that.
The Get Your Freak On, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What? No. Work It. I mean.
Yeah.
It was Work It.
He was banned. Song, either one, but yeah, I think that's the one that actually had the reverse. Yeah, like her reverse.
And it's like, it's just what she just said in reverse, right? Like that's all it is. Like
that's the thing. They
it's like don't be so
wanted to be something.
It was something else.
Yeah,
but it also, it's funny that you say that, because this is going not to get off topic too much. This is what also propelled Chopped and Screwed to where it was at, because people thought it was something that it wasn't, and then they realized the artistry behind it, because people was like, oh yeah, that's what they're doing, the devil in Texas. And I'm like, no, that's not really what they're doing. And then when they really found out, like, oh no, they mixing this and slowing it down and doing, and then it was like, oh yeah, this is cool. So you're exactly correct in both of those assessments that, people thought it was something and it was completely the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Juicy, I don't think Prophet Pot, like, they were going about, if we say it in reverse, they won't catch on. Like, I don't think that was
Really?
I don't think it was no fucking seance and let's put a trap beat behind the seance and get them to our calls. Yeah,
that's almost like, and artists are geniuses, right? Like they're musical geniuses, but it's almost giving them too much credit. To like do all of that in the background and all that stuff. Like the closest example that I can think of that's like plausible is when Lupe Fiasco on the Kanye West song Touch the Sky said, I represent the first, and he said it on the 15th bar, and you're supposed to catch, oh, is he representing first and 15th by just saying it like that? Like maybe that, like, you know what I'm saying? And that is even a stretch to me type shit, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
but maybe, but not this devil worship played in reverse and it's a whole different meaning and all of that. Like,
hey, let's even get more mainstream than that. Beyonce, the Renaissance, what her the tours, the horsemen, and this, and she is the devil, and she is. I mean, it was. But it was what was that lady name who just went in on Beyonce, like just completely, like was that pastor who was just crazy about. She just went so absurd nuts, saying how Beyonce and everybody was a devil worshiper. And
wow.
It was from the hats to the clear horse. It was everything, and it was wild that you thought, first of all, that you thought Beyonce had this much thought to put the devil in her music. Like it was because what she was like, oh yeah, she's done this and she's done that, and it was so layered and crazy shit. Like if you just wanted free tickets to the show, baby, just say that.
Did anybody, and I want y'all to be honest, because I'm gonna be honest when I'm gonna admit something, you know what I'm saying? But because we're on the subject of Halloween and spookiness and music, right? All those things together, right?
Well,
and
this is a safe place.
And you brought up Beyonce, right? You brought up Beyonce. So, did y'all ever get caught up in the Illuminati shit?
Yes, and I was
for sure.
Okay,
100%.
Saying that, that's exactly what I thought.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Because I was deep in for a little bit. Like I was watching the YouTube videos where they was breaking down the Rihanna video, and like if you look like this, a person's body can't actually bend that way, so they use CGI effects to make her look like that. And what does that look like? Oh, she's making a devil horns with her arms and blah blah blah. And I was like, nigga, she is. You're right. Like I was all in like 2011. Like
yeah.
So I remember like when they was like, oh yeah, you know, if you hold your hands a certain way with the triangle, it's the Illuminati, it's this, that, and the third, it's the Illuminati. Yeah. Now, Shane, you're a real big wrestling fan.
All-seeing eye and all of that.
Yeah. They're saying to represent like the eye on the pyramid on the dollar and shit. Yeah.
You know,
I remember that.
Did you know that Rockefeller actually got a cease and desist letter from WWF, from DDP? There you go.
So baby, bang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he sued Jay-Z. He said, "Stop using my hand sign, for I whoop your ass in court." You know what I'm saying?
No way. So that's why he didn't do that no more.
Yeah, nobody else was throwing up.
A wrestler that stopped him. He was like, "No, that's me, bruh."
Yeah. But everybody's sitting here thinking it's the Illuminati. He stole it from a wrestler. Like,
wrestler.
The thing that
who is a yoga instructor now and like save niggas' lives and shit. Like what saves alcoholics from, like, it's crazy what he's doing now. Shout out DDP actually.
That's awesome.
But we was sitting here on the internet trying to Google search and figure out what the fuck this meant.
It would be Illuminati. It would not be all
that shit, bro. And they were saying that like motherfuckers who were throwing this up were throwing up devil horns and shit like that. And
well, it's the horns from Texas.
This is why I remember that so much, because it was the Kush and Orange Juice tour around this time when like all this Illuminati shit was like really getting out there on YouTube and on the internet and shit. And niggas were like believing it, right? So I remember Wiz came to the school. Everybody turned up in the concert, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, throw up Taylor Gang. So everybody in the audience is throwing that shit up. And my man Mike, after the concert, walks up and he taps me and he's like, yo, you saw that shit, bro? How he had everybody he's summoning that power dog, like blah blah blah. He's dead serious though.
Wow.
Like, because that's what they said. They were like, they used to say in the videos that like when the artist does this and everybody does it back, it's almost like the power of prayer type shit. Like the more people that are praying together, the more powerful the prayer is, and God can hear you more and more.
Don't you talk about Jesus?
Like it's basically the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? Like according to the Illuminati.
So is the Illuminati? This might be a topic for another day. Is the Illuminati the biggest hip hop
conspiracy theory? Oh,
conspiracy theory, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, because I mean, just because of recent events, we would have said, the shooting of Tupac and Biggie, we would have all of these lists of whatever, we would have had, hip hop's greatest conspiracy theory. Is the Illuminati number one?
I think so.
I think we might as well circle back to it because since we have finally, pinpointed like Tupac's killer, you know what I mean? It's like, why not? We were all wrapped up into the Illuminati for the longest. I thought we were like for sure going to see demonstration at some point. Like they like it was going to be such a real thing that was going to happen in our lives,
I think it's way more out in the open than people give it credit for, because what do they say the Illuminati is? Like realistically, they say it's all the most powerful people in the world who actually control everything, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they say it is. Now, you can throw all the extra shit on there if you want to, the masonry and devil worship and all of that, but that's all depending on who you talk to. But like, if you just ask the general person, like, what is your idea of what the Illuminati is? They're going to be like, it's a bunch of powerful people who control everything behind the scenes. So that is pretty out in the open. Like, we know who really
feel like that's fair.
Yeah, it's all the billionaires and shit. It's, rich people. Like,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Elon Musk is part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's for sure.
Yeah.
He's for sure in there.
It's just not a secret society that you have to have like a membership to or anything. I think the idea of what the Illuminati is correct. Like that there's a group of really powerful people that control everything. I think that's true. Do they call themselves the Illuminati? No. Do they sacrifice goats and shit? No, I don't think they do none of that. A lot of them probably don't even like each other. A lot of them are probably in direct competition with each other. And you know what I'm saying? All of that. But they're all doing the same shit. They're all pulling strings behind the scenes. Hey, I need you to cut taxes over here. I need you to motherfucking change this law over here to make this a little easier for me, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's some money for you to do that. Like that type shit.
Realize that too.
Yeah, whoever owns Walmart, the Walton family, they part of it. Bezos, like all them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like we know who they are. So it's not
the other thing to me that doesn't make it so like conspiracy theory-ish to me anymore. Like the other thing that doesn't. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say to finish that point. So to tie all of that to rap is insane, which is why it's a huge conspiracy theory. There's only a few people who are really on like quote unquote Illuminati level in rap. Diddy, Dre, Jay-Z. That's about it.
Kinda Kanye.
In and out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What he says on it in a given week.
I feel like Kanye pledged, but he didn't. He didn't get his letters.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I
For
think
sure.
was that Spike Lee School Days, Big Brother Almighty.
Yep.
Like, he was Spike Lee in like movie. Like he didn't get his letters.
Damn.
At all.
Hold on. Tell me you saw School Days and know what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Not gonna get roasted.
Let me ask you this. Did you go to or do you know people who went to college?
Yeah, I went to college.
You went to college, okay. So did you go to a university?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're familiar with fraternities and sororities then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so School Days is basically a Spike Lee movie about life at a black university, and part of it is he's pledging a fraternity that's like a fake version of the Qs.
Got you. Okay.
So that's one of the pledge scenes is he has to greet Big Brother Almighty like when they're in set or whatever. So
Yeah.
if you're familiar with the concepts, then you know
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I kind of figured. Like the concept, especially the cues, like because there was a lot of cues around, and I forgot there's another.
There always are. Shout out.
Yeah, I was about to say the cues are deep.
Shout out to the cues,
and they're always the loudest one.
Yes,
you always notice them. So that's why.
Barking before they get there, you're just gonna hear mad niggas barking like, "Oh, here go the cues."
Yeah,
they in this bitch.
Precisely.
The cues was out of New York. That's why they had Tim's.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know if that's true or not. I'm literally
DC.
I have no idea if that's true, nigga. We're gonna get all kind of inboxes from the
I was gonna say,
no, we were
right away.
Yeah. You gonna have our conversation going
1911,
crazy.
I think in DC. Please no disrespect if that's not correct. At Howard, I believe, is the answer to that.
Close to New York.
And the Goldies are not Tim's. I don't know what they represent because I'm not part of it. But let me just shout out to the Tim's. We don't want no smoke
at all.
Hey,
they're Goldies. That's all.
So it's not a Timberland shoe?
Absolutely not.
No.
Wow.
Oh.
No.
Do every day.
I feel. Hold on. Are you?
I mean, some of the niggas wear Timbs. You know what I'm saying? But like when they're like, no, I'm not in a frat at all.
Oh, okay. I thought you was like giving me some sort of like, yo, nigga.
I have a lot of connections
before I get reported.
Yeah, no. It ain't. It definitely ain't nothing like that. I just don't want.
I swear to God.
They're just very like niggas and Greeks are sensitive to their Greek. So if you
they are proud
about that shit at all, they be like, wait, hold up, nigga. Like, so I'm just trying to clear up what little information possibly. You know what I'm saying? You see the hands, like no smoke.
Did you see the hands?
You see the hands. This is
literally
like,
have smoke in your hands.
I know. This is the only smoke I want. I want none with the cues. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my niggas in Detroit, the Phi Zeta chapter from Ferris and all y'all niggas. Y'all
you might as well go down all the Divine Nine now, nigga. You just.
I mean, I got homies, you know what I'm saying, in all of them. I really do. That was probably part of the reason I ended up joining one. It was because I was cool with all of them. So I was like, I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? Whoever got the Halloween party, I'm trying to be in that bitch, like kicking it with the old school niggas, all that shit. Like,
it does. I will say in my job, because I meet a lot of political people, celebrity people. It always amazes me, like who is who. Like, you know, even on the sports, you know, and the music, like always who is who and who knows who through a Greek or through a school or this, that, and the third, or who is a Mason or who was this or who was a Shriner. You know, it's always what they identify as being non-Greek or Uyghur. That is always an interesting concept. Which is no, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not.
What?
Huh?
What?
So you remember the music lineage of Quincy Jones?
Okay.
How they say, you know, Quincy did this and came from Barry, you know, and all in every, you know, it always has all of these branches and things. It's like the same way of like Greek, of like who's affiliated with who, and you know, this is Greek or this is that, and he's his frat brother, and then, you know, so shit. I seen on it was a judge, Joe Mathis. She was like, and he met me at school, and he was crossing the line. He was like, "What school was it?" And he said at school, and he was like, "Oh, did you play?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm an alpha." You an alpha? And then he threw up his little thing, and then Judge Mathis was like, "Okay, bro, fat, I see you." I just knew he lost. I knew the girl lost right there. I'm not gonna do that, brother, on national TV.
And he asked him, "Did you pledge?" Like that's you know what I'm saying? Like he's asking a lot by asking that question. That's a loaded ass question.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just say, "Oh, when did you cross?" or "When did you know what I'm saying, how long you been in?" He said, "Did you pledge?" You know what I'm saying? That'd be, "Did you go through the shit I went through to get up in here?" Yeah,
right.
We good. That's what that is. That was a G check, but a Greek check. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a music version of a Greek check?
A music version?
Yeah. I remember back in the day, nigga, you didn't go to Full Sail, you wasn't no producer.
I see what you mean.
You know exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, because for a while it was if you didn't know Pro Tools.
Yeah, but that's how you went. How did you learn Pro Tools? You went through Full Sail.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I mean, who taught me Pro Tools went to Full Sail. So
that is so
that's
funny.
back when motherfuckers was like really trying to work in studios though. Like now, everybody got the home set up.
Yeah, Fruity Loops was the end of that shit, but
Mm-hmm.
and Soldier Boy, because Soldier Boy,
who made his
Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy is the Kanye of Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Easily.
100%.
We got way to fuck.
Allie, you looking at me like you have no idea
what the fuck that even is.
Fruity Loops was
I was looking at it.
It was a computer program that allowed you to make beats from scratch. And it was like one of the first programs that was like that, you know, that you could just do it all the way on a computer. Before that,
like Soldier Boy like really used the fuck out of that for like his first
to make
album.
his own beats. Yeah, to make all his like Soldier Boy, you know, Soldier Boy off in this hoe. That was made on Fruity Loops. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that.
Yeah, okay.
All that first
it was the producer's version of SoundCloud.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you say
well,
kind of because you like, oh, he's a SoundCloud rapper, you know. So there were a lot of Fruity
Loops. Yeah, it was Fruity Loops producers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because before that, like before Fruity Loops really became a thing, niggas were making their beats in the studio. You know what I'm saying? You had to record the piano track and then record the drum tracks and then record the bass track. And that's how niggas was making beats back in, you know what I'm saying? And then Fruity Loops came along and it allowed you to do all that shit on the computer while you're just watching it play out on the screen. And if you don't like the note, you don't have to know how to play the piano. You just got to know what you want that shit to sound like and put the notes in place. You know what I'm saying? So it made it a lot easier for people who didn't know how to play instruments to still be able to create music. And it was dope because it's still from your brain. Like you're still creating music from scratch. So
and the way it was on the screen, you would highlight like so if you just knew your patterns. So if I put 2 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and 1 at the third, like and these 4 bars are all highlighted, and then I do that like 3 times like a V. I didn't just repeat it the same little beat with like the MPC, like it was like and it was the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know I don't know how to say that in my head and make it a beat, but like, oh yeah, I just did this shit on Fruity Loops. Now I'm a producer.
That's why everyone started making fun of 808 Mafia so much because they called them the Fruity Loops producers because they would just make all their beats on Fruity Loops, but it was like that was the wave and that's what got them niggas hot. So it was like, why would they not keep rerunning back the same formula?
It's not like they were using Fruity Loop sounds. They were importing their own sounds. They were just using software to create the music, which is Ninth Wonder does that.
Yeah.
Like Ninth Wonder was one of the original people who, you know what I'm saying? And people look at him as one of the really respected hip hop producers, purists, and all of that. And it's like, nigga, he uses Fruity Loops.
Yeah. So, that narrative definitely changed after some years, but I remember at first that's what it was. It was like, oh, y'all need some Fruity Loop ass producers. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, anything new is gonna get shitted on. So, you know, that's why niggas was shitting on D12 when they first came out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I bet. And then I'm sure that people were surprised, like that they were probably so different for their time, and then like that they became like mainstream, especially Eminem. Like I'm sure that was probably a shock, especially from Detroit. Oh my God, like it's probably one of the last places that you're expecting somebody to pop off the way that he did.
But Eric, what do you think about that aspect of it though? So like the content and like what Allie just said, being from Detroit, right? So Detroit or even Flint now, you know, there's a lot of rappers from Flint. Like, do you think there's, you know, so like, what do you think the connection is there? I guess is my question.
So we had this conversation a couple of days ago, and we had it jokingly, but I'll bring it up here because I think it's a good, timely conversation. So I've been driving Lyft for a couple of months, and whenever I'm in the car, I just basically play whatever playlist is in my phone that I just feel at the time. And I started noticing this funny pattern that whenever I would pick up somebody that was like younger, around like their like mid 20s, like early 20s, and they're like young and black, they would always ask to play one of a couple of things. Either Y&J or Rio the Young OG. Those were the two things that they wanted to hear in my car the most. And we kind of me and Shane kind of jokingly said that Rio the Young OG might be the new version of Gucci, where like all the young niggas just have all the mixtapes, they know all the words. And I think the connection between that style of music and what D12 was doing back then is that now it's in a different type of palatable form where the beats are much different, the way they're saying things are a little different, but the subject matter is still kind of the same. They're still giving you real life scenarios. They're still playing off those real life scenarios by throwing in the comedic aspect with it. If you listen to any Rio or RMC Mike or Y&J song, it's littered with all of that, with realism, but also the balance of, did he really just say that? Because that's the most outlandish shit that I've ever heard. So it's very balanced in that way. And I think they took a lot of that inspiration from guys like Bizarre, from guys like M in those early tapes, because a lot of that subject matter, it presents itself, but again, just in a new school type of format. So that's really the link between the two, because nobody else really in Michigan is really rapping the same way that they are, as far as the RMC Mikes, your Rios. Like they're not really stepping outside the box and rapping that unorthodox like D12 was back in the day. Whereas you can listen to your RMC Mikes, your Rios, and directly catch your influence from D12, because back then in Detroit, nobody else sounded like them either.
Got you.
Yeah. I mean, I think the format that they rap in, like the pocket they rap in, is very similar to the majority of Detroit rappers, because they all rap, for the most part. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, they all rap in a very similar pocket. Like, but where they differ is the content. Like they're gonna say the outlandish shit and the shit that'll just make you laugh in the middle of a bar. Like he'll be rapping, and me and Eric laugh all the time listening to Rio, and we'll just bust out laughing in the middle of a verse. Like he didn't just say that shit. That shit is crazy. Like,
so tell me if this is true. Like, because of who Proof was and what he meant to Detroit, his lyrical ability, of course, with all that, and I mean, I know his backstory with that. Is it safe to say that because of who he was, D12 was looked at more lyrically with jokes and less of a gimmick with lyrics? If you see what I'm saying, like they weren't just doing it to get on. Like, no, they were doing it to be funny and we can really rap. Versus now, if it would come out, that's just a gimmick, like that's not serious. Like it's for clout, it's for the,
I almost think it would be the reverse. Like, so I think if they came out now rapping the way that they were, like with the subject matter anyway, like not necessarily the style, because it was 2001, so we got to keep that in context. It's 2023, so rap as a whole, the sound is different now. But assuming that the content is the same and their skill set is the same, I think nowadays it would be looked at as less of a gimmick and more just that's how they want to rap. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Whereas back then, I feel like it was looked at more of a gimmick because it was so outlandish. They were like, oh, they're the weird niggas. Like, that's their thing. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm sure they leaned into a lot also. Like, they were like, yeah, we're going to,
Bizarre had a shower cap, bro.
Exactly. So, it's like, he was in the Bubba Sparks video for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Just in the pig pen.
Why was he there?
He was just there. So, in Alabama somewhere. Why the fuck was Bizarre there? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Why the fuck was he there?
Right. So I think in that aspect, back in those days, like actually looked at, like it was looked at as a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? And especially because Eminem was in the group and he was already kind of known for his Slim Shady persona. So they were all, it was almost looked at as like, oh, they're all trying to be like him.
Mm.
Like, oh, he's the guy, so they're all just trying to do their version of Eminem, basically. So it was like you had to look deeper to almost like appreciate the skill that they had individually. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at first glance, those are the first impressions, and then you listen deeper, and you're like, oh no, like especially like Kaniva. Like Kaniva's hard. Like just by itself, he can rap. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's other dudes who had skill. I think Proof, what he brought was more so because he was still connected in battle rap circles. You know what I'm saying? He was like running battle rap leagues in Detroit, and like a lot of the battle rappers that, you know, came up through Smack and stuff like that are from Detroit, like they all had personal relationships with Proof. So I think Proof kind of provided more of that was Eminem's staying in touch with the streets in a way. Like when he got so big to where it was like Eminem can't just be in Detroit no more. You know what I'm saying? But Proof could. You know what I'm saying? So
that was his balance.
That was the way that Eminem stayed tapped in. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when Proof died, that's kind of when that connection got lost.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's why you have like a lot of the younger guys who are like, we don't even fuck with Eminem like that. Like, we respect what he did, but we don't know that nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's why you hear a lot of that. I feel like if Proof was still here, that wouldn't really be a thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know none of them niggas.
But okay, so yeah, I feel like we covered some of like the biggest hits from the album. I don't know if anybody else wants to throw in and anything else. I feel like we dived so deep into this.
We went into
I was not expecting this.
Yeah, we went all over the place today.
It's a good album. That's all I would say. It's a good album. You know, it's solid. Some Dr. Dre production on there. Denon Porter. You know, like I said, he's known for some of the biggest hits that you just don't know that he made. You know what I'm saying? Like he made PIMP by 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? So, Mr. Porter's he's out here. And he did a lot on that album too. And Eminem also. He did production on there. And it's just a solid album. You know what I'm saying? And happy Halloween, everybody. You know what I mean? That's all I got.
Yeah. Happy Halloween from the Bar Exam crew. Thanks for watching this episode. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and to check us out every Monday for a new episode of Bar Exam. We will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.